On a quiet morning in 1977, chaos erupted in a courthouse in Nice, France. Albert Spaggiari, shackled and under heavy guard, did the unthinkable. He escaped, leaping from a fourth-floor window. He crashed onto the roof of a car parked below. The impact barely slowed him. Bouncing up, he sprinted to a waiting motorcycle, leapt onto the black, and vanished into the city streets. This bold escape marked the climax of a story unlike any other, and the man who vanished with millions from one of France's most secure banks. Albert Spaggiari was no ordinary wedding photographer. Behind the lens, he had a past and a mind capable of orchestrating the largest bank robbery in French history. To understand how this man pulled off such a feat and how one mistake unraveled his empire, we must travel back to the summer of 1976. On July 19th, 1976, newsroom across France buzzed with whispers. The Société Générale Bank in Nice had been burgled. Millions of francs were missing. Anxious clients gathered, desperate for answers. Some even threatened the bank's director. Inside, investigators found a scene that defied expectations. Hundreds of safe deposit boxes had been forcibly opened, smashed with sledgehammers or cut with blowtorches. The loss was staggering, estimated at 36 million francs, roughly 35 million euros in today's money. Yet the strangest discovery wasn't the stolen wealth, it was what the burglars left behind: a makeshift campsite, a table, a gas stove, saucepans, bottle of wine, cans of ravioli, and pieces of bread. On the wall, a handwritten note: no arms, no violence, no hate. Further investigation revealed a hole drilled through the bank's wall, led into the city's sewers. A police officer crawled through an 8-meter tunnel, carefully cemented to prevent collapse and allow stolen goods to be moved discreetly. This was the work of professionals. Albert Spaggiari's story began long before this heist. Once a man with a troubled past, Spaggiari had served time in prison in the 50s for robbery during the Indochina War, and later for possession of weapons tied to paramilitary activities. By the mid-70s, he had reinvented himself, living quietly on the outskirts of Nice with his wife and dog. He became the town's wedding photographer. By gambling addiction, Spaggiari found inspiration in an English book recounting a bank robbery executed through sewers. The story haunted him. Determined, he rented a commercial studio just a block from the Société Générale, using it as a base to study the bank's operation. He observed guard routines, employee movements, and vowed security depositing and withdrawing money himself to avoid suspicion. He learned the vault had no alarm system, protected only by thick concrete walls. After exploring nearby sewers, he confirmed it was possible to tunnel into the vault. But this was no solo mission. Spaggiari recruited 6 men, 30 criminals, mostly from Marseille, chosen for their anonymity in Nice. Over several months, the crew dug silently, 1 centimeter at a time, working only at night using basic tools. They employed rubber rafts to block water, inflatable mattresses to rest, and hundreds of meters of electric cable to light the tunnel. On July 16th, 1976, taking advantage of a long holiday weekend, they broke into the vault and spent hours ransacking 37 safe deposit boxes. Their escape mirrored their entry through the tunnel back to the sewers. They left behind a message for the police and the media, claiming responsibility for the audacious crime. For a time, the plan was flawless. Albert even went on a dinner date shortly after, confident in his success, but his ego proved his undoing. 3 months later, Spaggiari sought recognition and approached the CIA in the United States, presenting himself as the mastermind behind the heist. The agency rejected him, alerting French authorities instead. Back home, after the arrest of several accomplices and intense interrogations, Spaggiari's name surfaced. Upon returning to France to visit his family, he was promptly arrested. Yet the story did not end here. Months later, during an interrogation on the courthouse, Spaggiari was not handcuffed. During a meeting with the judge, while some saw him as a folk hero, many newspapers painted a darker picture, linking him to far-right political groups and illicit dealing. On a moment, he escaped in a spectacular fashion, the leap from the courthouse window, and vanished from the authorities' grasp. His daring escape with a forged passport, Spaggiari fled from Nice to Argentina, living comfortably on an estate bought with the stolen fortune. He altered his appearance with plastic surgery and grew a beard to evade capture, traveling through Brazil, Chile, Spain, and Italy. He even returned covertly to France. During his years on the run, he authored a successful book about the heist, later adapted into a film. Spaggiari sought to negotiate a return to France in exchange for reduced sentence, a plea the justice system ultimately denied. In 1989, diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, Albert Spaggiari died quietly in modern Italy at age 56.